Okay, so we have been looking at the book of Ruth, and we've been talking about God's grace and the value of the kinsman redeemer, and we've talked about that a lot. But what does the kinsman redeemer have to do with us? This is an important question. Now, if you remember way back, we talked about that there were 4 ways that a kinsman redeemer, the duties that they had according to Deuteronomy chapter 25. Okay? Duty number 1 was to buy back property that members of the family had sold. Okay? Duty number 2, to provide an heir for a deceased brother by marrying her and producing a child with her. Number 3, to buy back a family member who'd been sold into slavery due to poverty. And number 4, to avenge a relative who'd been murdered by killing the murderer. Okay, so these areas right here really all have to do with blood. Okay, if you look at it, the last 3 of the kinsman redeemer have to do with providing an heir, so passing on the bloodline, to buy back a member, so redeeming a blood loss, or the last one is to avenge a relative who had been murdered. So then once again you are doing justice to the blood that has been lost. And Boaz was the ultimate kinsman redeemer, far better than what we talked about with Judah and and Tamar and all that stuff. Instead, what we got is an incredible look and a beautiful idea of kinsman redeemer. However, for followers of Christ, being a kinsman redeemer is more than just the story of Boaz and Ruth, because Jesus is our kinsman redeemer. Follow me, with you will, to Isaiah chapter 9. Remember this: for unto us, in verse 6, a child is born, to us a son is given. This is a lineage thing, okay? And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. So when we talk about the kinsman redeemer, we're talking about that a son would be named Jesus, and for he will save his people, that was very Western, sorry. For he will save his people from their sins in Matthew 1:21. So Jesus is our ultimate kinsman redeemer. Boaz was a beautiful demonstration of what Jesus was going to do. Boaz really did 2 things. Number 1, he upheld and fulfilled the law of Moses, the Mosaic law. Well, that is what Jesus did. He said, I've come to fulfill the law. All right, so Jesus did that. Number 2, Jesus was there to carry on the line. Boaz was there to carry on the line, and Jesus did the same for us. See, what he did is he restored our bloodline to be right with God yet again. Jesus' sacrifice, his payment in blood for our blood, allowed us to be redeemed for God. Jesus became our brother and our redeemer. He is truly our kinsman redeemer. So when we read the story of Ruth, we're actually getting a preview of the story of what Jesus did for us when he became our kinsman redeemer. And so I encourage you, read through the book of Ruth one last time today. It's not long, it's only 4 chapters, but look at it as how Jesus did for us. And look at the different things that Boaz did. Boaz placed priority on God first. Boaz placed following God as his priority. It wasn't just that he loved God, he chose to follow God, and he chose to honor God. As Jesus said, not my will, but yours be done. It is absolutely a beautiful picture of the kinsman redeemer. So I know this one was a little bit shorter today, but that's because I want you to take some time, read through Ruth, see the beauty of Jesus that's found in Boaz as our kinsman redeemer. All right, see you next time.